So, welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here for today on the show. We're already having the perfect Thursday already because we have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the one and only, and perhaps a superhero. Let's find out. Vanessa, how are you today?
I'm good. I love that introduction. Thank you.
Absolutely. What better way to have an incredible, super badass Thursday than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Stop the compliments. Keep them coming. I mean, they're great. I'm going to need that as like to wake up in the morning. I need that
Sounds
little
sounds
clip.
good to me. If you want, I can record like a small alarm for that.
Yeah, it'll just motivate me.
Sounds
Yeah,
like a
thank
plan. Absolutely. Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. But also, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Vanessa's social media. Let's follow her. Let's share some love, and let's find out why she's super badass. We're on a mission right now. And without further ado, let's jump in. So, I want to start this incredible conversation by throwing out the very first question, which is, what was the exact moment when you realized this was more than a passion, that acting became like like your purpose, let's say?
I was 11 when that happened. So I was already taking like acting classes and stuff like that for fun at age 7. And I was already performing since the age of 3. I was doing ballet. And then it just like I was watching Harry Potter one day and I was doing auditions and I was doing some short films here and there, but I never thought it could be a career. And then I watched Harry Potter and I was like, they get paid? Like they get paid to do this? This could be a living. I don't have to be a doctor. Like, got it. So then that was the moment where I was like, hey, parents, I'm going to be an actor. That was the moment.
I love it. And once you decided, this was going to be your passion, tell me, what were some of those challenges that you encounter, right? We all have them whenever we start on something new, right? We have kind of this learning curve until we find kind of our sweet spot for us to continue. So, what was that for you?
Yeah, well, for me, honestly, I'm from Miami, Florida originally. So at the time there was a lot happening, but it was always like it's difficult when you're a kid, you don't have that much control over you don't know. You just don't know and you don't have the control of I'm going to sign up for this job and I'm going to, request this and try to go into the office. Like I don't have a car, I don't have a laptop, I don't have all these tools. So it was always up to my parents to have to do all that for me. And that was a challenge. My mom's Brazilian, like English is her second language. My dad's a dentist. Like they didn't know anything about this career. They had to figure it out and then try to guide me through it. So I think that was like the biggest challenge, at least growing up and starting out, figuring out how do you even start? How do you get your foot in the door?
Okay. Now, in your experience, tell me, does becoming a great actor require breaking yourself or building something entirely new?
You know, To each their own. That's what I have to preface. Everyone has their own method of ways of getting into character and doing things. For me personally, I it depends on the character. I don't always believe that you have to break yourself in a way to do any harm to yourself because I believe there's a separation between the actor and the character and you're finding that balance of what parts do I take of myself and put it into the character and what parts do I have to kind of substitute and pull from other experiences in life and also try different things too to start becoming this character, understanding how this character works. So I personally don't believe in, you know, breaking yourself per se, because that can have a huge mental toll. But, if you're going to have to go a little method with it and, do things that you won't typically do and go step out of your comfort zone, I think that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll take it. I'll take it. I start to discover why you're badass. You're giving me the vibes. You know what you're saying? Now, how do you prepare emotionally for roles that demand a lot of vulnerability, trauma, or even sometimes grief? And how do you are able to come back from it to the real you, let's say?
Mhm. I do that more often than not. I feel like every week I'm picking up a script I'm crying or whatever, going through trauma, going through things. The biggest thing is again that separation of you as a person, me as Vanessa, and the character. And knowing that I'm safe, I'm not the same person and I'm okay. So how I do that is meditate in the morning and do some yoga just to get, in tune with my body and to start feeling out like working the muscles and preparing like to go in character. And then once I've done the work and I'm in the character and then I need to step out from it, then again doing that yoga and that breathing exercise just to relax myself and just again reminder I'm two different people.
Now, do you believe acting heals, or can it sometimes kind of reopen wounds that we thought were closed?
Oh, of course. I think a lot comes out of art in general, right? Because art, I feel like, stems from emotion and imagination and passion and feeling. That's why we do it. That's why we watch it. That's why we look at it, feel it. And I think there's a lot of that. We tell stories because we need to release something. We need to understand. It's a way of putting in perspective, a way of understanding the world or situations that we're in. Musicians do it all the time. Taylor Swift's the best at it in terms of heartbreak, right? So I think it is healing, but then with that itself, you can start understand, finding things that you didn't know bothered you before or that you felt ways before, and hopefully you can heal through that as well.
Mm. And during this whole process of creating a character, what are some of the parts that you enjoy the most? Either, I don't know, read the script perhaps, or like how is your whole preparation to it when you are about to embark into this journey? And what are some of the things that you enjoy the most?
Preparing, I read the script multiple times. Highlight, circle, underline things that are said about my character, or that things that I say about my character says about my character. Do all that work, try to see if there's little hints of the kind of lifestyle that they lived before this. So, what's their status in life? Have they gone through things like trauma, things like that? And then trying to take it on its feet, memorize it quickly as possible so that it's in root. So I memorize in root. So, basically monotone. So, memorize it kind of monotone so that I don't have a pattern of saying it, and then start getting in the walk. Is there a special walk? Is there a special way of her talking? Does she say a lot of similar things? Every human has a like I say like a lot, or I say for example a lot. So just figuring that out as well in her speech, and then kind of just, finding the motivation in every scene. What am I trying to achieve and get at? And then there's a bunch of other work that I put into, and then you go and you just play and you kind of throw it all away and listen to your scene partner and hope for the best. My favorite part of the process, I love all of it. I feel like my least favorite might be memorizing. I just love if I could just go, got it, immediately. But I love putting it on its feet. Like I love playing. I love when I'm with another character and we have the director and we could just try something and play and have that time to experiment.
Hmm, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's more than just learn your lines, as some people might think, right? So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's more
totally.
than
But I find it amazing the fact that you're able to kind of tell a story from scratch and to present it to for us to, for the audience in general, right? I find it amazing whenever there is kind of this connection going on. And you can totally tell. I do think that there's something about it whenever either you're watching a film, TV show, play, whatever, that sometimes you might get more connected than usual for a character. And I think when that happens, I mean that is kind of it's just amazing because even though that what you're watching is not real, the emotions you're having through that character are real. You know what I mean?
absolutely
Mm.
100%.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, has there ever been a role that exposed a truth about yourself that you weren't ready to face?
No, there hasn't. Because again, it's the character. It's not me. There might be things that I could relate to the character that can be sometimes a little touchy, a little tough to talk about, I guess. Not to I guess a little tougher to dive into, but I wouldn't say anything like that.
More badass. Just saying. There you go. Now, some actors they say that they kind of lose themselves, right, in a role, and all of that. But have you ever kind of found yourself in one? Let's say.
Oh, to lose myself in a role, absolutely, and that is the best feeling. That's like I believe they call it like it's a flow state where you just, and a lot of people have this, I think, in just in life and careers, when you get to a point where you're comfortable with it and you feel like you just settled in and you're flowing is kind of the visual of it. I don't know if you saw F1, but I think Formula One race car drivers, like that's a great example. Like some of them, you see them, and it's just easy. Like now, it's just the mind and car they're connected, and I feel like that's something similar that I feel with certain characters when you get to play with them, when you get to be the character for a good amount of time and you're really invested in the scene.
And what do you expect from the audience to either feel or to catch whenever they are seeing you performing?
I just want it to be I just want them to be entertained. I think that's the job, really, you know? I'll do things perhaps for myself, challenges, try to make it as realistic as I have to and honor the script as much as I can, and honor the story, And so if that makes the audience laugh, cry, hate me, whatever it is, that's what I want. Then I feel satisfied. Like then I did my job.
Epic. Now, what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about the whole industry?
I think people think it's all glamour and everything's great and fun. And hey, a lot of it is fun. But I think everyone will do jobs that you don't always want to do, or you'll have to put in your time for things that you don't always want to put into. But you need to put your name out there, and you will go to events, and there's so much stuff that I think as an actor, and I also produce and direct, so like from all those different departments too, where you just have to put yourself out there and do everything you can to try to make a living in this industry and to achieve whatever goals you set for yourself. And so I think sometimes it looks easy. It's like, oh, but you already, like, for example, I have some friends who are on big TV shows, and it's like, oh, you made it. But then after that TV show ends, they have to go look for another job again. And it might not be as big as that one. It could be bigger, but it might not be. And they might be out of work for a few years. And that's just kind of how it is in the industry that I don't think a lot of people know. It has a lot of ups and downs.
All right. Now, how do you stay grounded in an industry that constantly asks you to either reinvent yourself or sell yourself?
I don't. I'm just kidding. Never. I don't know. I just try to stay myself. I have good friends. You got to know your worth too. At the same time, you got to be confident, because I think the worst critic, or at least my worst critic, is always going to be myself. But also, I have to like look at my material and everything I've done and be like, yeah, yeah, I'm proud of myself, and try to convince myself that I'm proud of myself. So I think I myself can do a really good job at humbling myself. And then, just I don't know. My friends are straightforward with me. We're all straightforward with each other. We'll say it as it is. I feel like that's a rarity, like that we ever have to do that.
You know what? Let's switch a little bit and let's talk about the whole self doubt and rejection. So, starting out, with self doubt, how do you navigate those silent moments where the syndrome starts to creep in?
Well, I have little things that I'll remind myself. Luckily, a lot, like I've been working a lot. And so any time I love taking photos too and documenting it for myself. So like I'll just look through through my photos on my phone and look back at like all the things I've done. Sometimes I'll have to look back at my stuff too, whether it's, Darman, verticals, some of the features that I've done. Like I'll just look back and see like also where I came from. Like look how I was a year ago or a few months ago, and look where I'm at now, kind of comparing it. And just yeah, and I also have like a little calendar, like a giant calendar that I keep in my apartment, and I'll write down like every day I'm filming. And I'm like, wow, I worked a lot. And that's great. Like if I had compared that now to a few months ago, it doesn't it's not even close. Like I made so much growth. So that's kind of how I help myself through all of that.
And how do you handle rejection, right? Nobody likes being rejected. So, how you stay motivated after going after audition, and nothing, nothing, nothing? Like, how you continue moving forward and not let yourself being affected by, which is kind of normal sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm really lucky in the sense that I started in this industry so young, and I've had really great teachers, coaches, and my parents to always remind, like, kind of train my brain in a way to think, you're done. You just did a performance, you did the audition, you did the callback. That was the performance. Now, if you book the role, amazing, huge win. It's like a little trophy. Great job, you booked it. But if not, you already performed. I already submitted the self tape. I already did the callback. in person or over Zoom. Like that's the performance. Of course, there's still moments where like when there's something that you really want and you don't get, like of course that stings a little bit, but you just got to keep going. I've done it in the past where I've journaled. I wrote it down. Wrote down all my thoughts, how I felt about the audition, all the things that I think I did right, all the things I could improve on. And then that's that. Then try as best as I can to let it go and keep moving. Can't focus on that.
In a world of social media and constant visibility, do you think mystery is still a useful tool for actors?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's mystery is a useful tool for everyone in life. You don't want to reveal yourself completely because it's a way of protecting yourself. We naturally don't typically tell everyone every single thought that comes to our mind because again, like we need a process and we have to protect ourselves in certain ways. So I think, yeah, especially with social media, we don't have to tell everyone everything.
Now, if one day your work helped someone feel seen or gave them the courage to dream again, would that be enough?
That's amazing. I mean, what is enough? I mean, we're human, right? I'm human. Like you reach something, you're like, I've got a goal. I want more. I want more. I want more. But in the sense that that is one of the ultimate goals, is to have people be able to relate and perhaps influence them if that's what the story is intended to do, and perhaps heal them as well. I think that's beautiful, and that's why, I mean, I watch movies for that. So yeah.
Okay. Now, what song would you say that could describe you and at the same time a little bit about your career as well, about your whole journey?
So it's interesting. When I first Okay, my answer is "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey. I will say it's wild, and I'm even afraid to say it out into existence because I hope it doesn't change anything, universe. But the first time I sang, like, on stage, I performed in front of a big crowd, and I won an award for it when I was a kid. I was, like, 11 or 12. I sang "Don't Stop Believing," and ever since then, I find it at different moments in my life whenever I need it. Like, the song will play on the radio, it'll play in the supermarket, like, randomly, and so when I first moved to LA, and, my dad came with me, and then I dropped him off at the airport, and it was the first time I had to be alone. I dropped him off, I turned on the car radio, and then "Don't Stop Believing" was on, and I was just sobbing, and I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'm gonna be okay by myself. I'll be fine." And then there's just been multiple occurrences throughout my life. For me, it relates to like just life and my passions and my goals.
That's pretty cool. And switching to our next section, speed round questions, yes, no, or pass. Super simple. Gonna ask you a couple of questions in which you can only answer yes, no, or pass. Now, after I ask you the whole questions, if you want to give it like a little more expand answer to one
Yeah.
of them or two or three, that's up to you. It's your decision. Sounds good?
Mhm.
Cool. So starting with the first one. Do you ever stay in character after the director yells cut?
Yes.
Have you ever cried in a scene that it wasn't scripted?
Yes.
Do you believe in method acting?
Yes, but it depends on time and place and what you're using it for. But again, it's just for me personally.
Have you ever regretted saying yes to a role?
No.
Okay. Do you think awards still matter?
Yes.
Is vulnerability your greatest weapon as an actor?
Yes.
Do you memorize lines quickly?
Yes.
Have you ever rewritten a line in your head because it didn't feel real?
Oh yeah.
Do you think fame ruins craft?
No.
And would you take a break from acting if your soul asked for it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you know what? A bonus one. Can you cry on cue?
Yes.
There you go. Perfect. Now from those questions, would you like to expand in one of those or
The fame one, what was it again?
do you
Is
think fame ruins craft?
I don't think it does. I mean, it depends. I think it's a case by case, honestly, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it ruins craft because I mean, some of the greats, and they're famous. They're famous and they're great. I don't know if I had to expand on that, but that's kind of why I don't.
So would you say that it depends on the person?
Yeah, it depends on the person. I think you work just as hard or even harder when you have now all that pressure on you. I think there's a lot more pressure when you get to different levels of fame. You get, yeah, there's pressure behind it, and it's just a different level of working your mind and still staying focused. on what's at hand.
Hmm.
Not listening to the media, not listening to comments, looking at comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay. Now, before we wrap up here, just a couple of questions more super quick. Now, tell me, do you think when you're starting out as an actor, it's important to set boundaries?
Yes, I do think it's important to set boundaries as an actor. And I think just as, again, people in general, right? Anyone working in any industry, you always have to know what you're comfortable doing and what you're not comfortable doing. And I've met so many actors, and I would say more specifically women, which is, is always sad, but they have a fear of disappointing the production, disappointing the director, the film, the producers. So they'll say yes to things when either it wasn't already written in the script or it wasn't written in the script and they aren't comfortable with it, but they didn't want to say it because they were just so excited they got the job. So I think you just have to have, again, it's like that confidence, like you're not going to get fired. And if you do get fired over it, then that's not, then it wasn't meant to be. That it, you weren't meant to be in that place or in that project at that time, because that's just, it's against your comfort zone. And you have to know that, because else you could be putting yourself in dangerous situations. There have been multiple times where I've done stunts or I've done intimacy scenes. And I would say more this the case has happened more with stunts. Usually intimacy scenes, I've always had intimacy coordinator, and it's been very consensual and safe. I've been very fortunate with that. But stunts, you don't always have a stunt coordinator, or they're going to always push, 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 push. And the stunt coordinator is like, I'm trying. What's the compromise, And you have to say, I'm comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with this. Can we, maybe we could do something like this versus this. And if you're lucky to have the stunt coordinator, they'll help facilitate all that. But if you don't, then you just have to speak up.
Okay. Now, what motivates you? We all have those days that basically we just want to quit. It's inevitable, happens to all of us. So, how you stay positive when things are not going so well, let's say?
Yeah, well, it's the reminder of what I want to achieve, the goals. I have a lot. I guess I put pressure on myself, but I mean, my parents, I want them to see me achieve my dreams. My mom moved to the US for a better life for me. And so she sacrificed a lot. And my dad sacrificed a lot too. And just showing them that I can do it, and I will be doing it and I am doing it, just to see that it was all worth it in the end for them. So I have to stay focused for them and for myself.
What do you think the 10-year-old version of yourself would think about you right now?
I think she would be proud. I think she'd think what I'm doing is cool, because I'm doing what I wanted to be doing. I mean, there's different levels, right? Again, I have other goals and things like that where I want to be, but I think she would be proud of how far I've come.
Fair enough. And my last question here, so we can all enjoy and relax here. So, what do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Badass. I'm just kidding. Badass Vanessa Nottingham. I don't know. No. One-on-one with Vanessa Nottingham.
Sounds good to me. Sounds like a franchise. Who knows? Maybe we are planning the next big project. Who knows? Just saying.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end, what can I say, right? The fact that you're doing what makes you happy, that's super cool. That's badass. We all know that going outside the typical 9 to 5 tends to be a little bit of pain in the butt sometimes, but the fact that you're doing it, you're making it happen. I mean, you're not also creating cool characters for us to enjoy. You're also showing that dreams are possible, right? And I think that message is super important and super positive. And I think, especially now, it's super important if we can find people like you in this world who are showing us some happy moments and also how to go after our dreams, because that's what life is all about, to actually enjoy it as much as you can, to do what makes you happy, what actually fuels your soul to continue moving forward, and you're making it happen. That's amazing. And now I discover why you're badass. So mission accomplished. There you go. Pretty
Well,
cool. Yeah, thank you for making this happen. I do want to thank also those who stayed the whole episode. Now let us know what you think in the comments below. But by this point, come on. We find out why Vanessa is super badass. Let's share some love. # Team Vanessa. And again, thank you for making this happen. Keep shining out there. Keep rocking. Keep doing what you do. You're doing it in an epic way. And I'll definitely be seeing you in the next one.